What's up, guys? Welcome back to FNG Academy. Buck here, former Green Beret, here to help you guys get selected. What's up, guys? Welcome to this episode. Today we're going to talk with Kevin from 18 Alpha Fitness. You guys hear me talking to him all the time, talking about him all the time. He's obviously sponsoring all the videos, most of the videos. He's one of our only sponsors, and that's for a reason. Our goal is to help you guys get selected, and we try to pick people that are going to give you the tactical advantage and give you a higher percentage of success. So Kevin's here visiting in my studio, and he's going to talk to you about what he does and how he's going to get you selected and better your chances. So we'll just go over kind of our experience with going through how we train, and then how Kevin is going to help you avoid the pitfalls that we fell into. So one thing that we were talking about before is like how just not doing it right at all.
Not doing it right at all.
Yeah. So when I started training, I was just like, well, it's going to be difficult, so I need to do hard things. Right. So I would do run and then put rocks in my backpack because I was a civilian when I wanted to go to Ranger selection.
Oh, okay.
And then, so just constant dumb stuff all the time. And then 2 days in, I got hurt.
Right. Yeah, so I went back into selection at 95 my first time. I did not make it because I trained dumb as well. I bought this Gucci backpack back then. That was the frame was inside the backpack in the rock. Didn't think nothing of it. I call that the Cadillac backpack. I trained with that. I had 85 pounds walking everywhere. But when you have that, you didn't, and then you go to selection and you're given the Pinto, the old school Alice pack with the frame on the outside. That thing is horrible, man. That thing whooped my ass, and I had broke both my feet when I got told. The docs was like, "Hey, you got stress fractures grade 4. That's the highest that you can have on all metatarsals on both feet." Mm-hmm. He's like, "You can quit now, or come back in a year on medical." Or you can continue. You can continue now or come back in a year. And I was like, I asked him, I was like, what would you do? He's like, I'd come back in a year, because if you continue, you're probably going to be broke harder than if in a year than you would if you just come back in a year. So I took that, came back. I trained a lot smarter because when I was training up, I was just rucking randomly and didn't have a real game plan.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was doing. I was just trying to make it hurt.
Right.
And then for me, the second time when I went into selection, I was doing better with stretching and trying to injury prevention, because obviously that's all I was worried about.
That's the golden ticket.
That's
people don't realize that's the golden ticket.
They think, I got to be the best, I got to be the fastest, I got to be the best in shape. It's like,
I got to do the most pull-ups, I got to do the most push-ups, and then I got to run a sub 5-minute mile pace. I'm like, well, why? You don't have to do those things.
Right.
The one thing that you do get with 18 Alpha Fitness that I don't know if you get it anywhere else because I don't buy anybody else's subscription, but you do get a daily mobility routine, and then the one magic tool that I've learned over the last 4 years is breathing. A breathing exercise. I can get you recovered faster after you do a hard iteration through breathing than you can through anything else.
I definitely need breathing, especially now training jiu-jitsu in Houston in a gym that does not have AC
or heat. Wait until the wintertime.
So I'm like, even when I'm trying to relax, it's so humid,
right? So hot
that it's like guys are like, dude, you gotta learn how to breathe, and I'm like, I'm gonna pass out. So, but one of the things that hurt me in selection, even though I was more focused on injury prevention, because I was so worried about not getting hurt, is I didn't perform what I knew I could. Because I was like, I'm not training to a point where I have confidence in what I can do. I'm just I'm just overcompensating. And so I didn't feel very confident physically. I was just kind of hoping every day that I would make it through to the end. Right. So that's why I like to send guys to you to get the programming so they can go in feeling super confident that I do have what it takes physically. I don't have to be constantly stressed about whether or not my body could take it. So how are you helping guys get to that point where they're going confident?
Well, the first workout that I always have them do is called the push-up from hell. And most guys are like, you look at it and it's like, that looks pretty easy. Well, when you get done with it and you do the 3 rounds, it's 458 push-ups total. So what that does is most guys are like they've been doing CrossFit or something else. whatever you do physically wise, that doesn't prepare you what you get to select. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. What that first workout does, it's an eye opener, because you're going to get pushed to those limits, right? And what it is that you got to figure out how you're going to overcome that. And when you start the program, you got 16 weeks. If you got the SFAS one, you got 16 weeks. You're going to do that. You're not going to do it every time, every Monday, but you're going to do it enough times to realize that, oh, I know how to do it. I can do this. You know, it just gives you, it's the mental edge.
Yeah.
Okay. And, you know, most of my,
I like that.
You know what I mean? It's the mental edge that you need to realize and how to get past selection. The physical part, like you said, we didn't know. You know what I mean? You didn't know how you were doing compared to everyone else. But if you try to compete against those other people that are there, you'll lose every day, right? Because there's guys faster, they do more pull-ups. Everybody does that. You just got to worry about what you can do, what you can affect.
Yeah, that's one thing you definitely can't do is focus on other people. We had this dude, and he went Delta Force, but he was so fast at running, he was able to go off into the woods, take a dump, and come back out and beat everyone and finish first. Yeah. And it's like, that pissed me off. Like, like, I'm in the back struggling. I'm not like back of the middle. I was strong back of the middle, and I'm struggling to just like keep my pace and keep up with everybody. This dude's resting, taking a dump, and he's still gonna come in faster, like by far, than the second guy. Right. So you can't compare. And then in selection, one of those guys, because I wasn't in selection with him, we were Q course together. Okay. But in selection, the fastest guy quit in like 3 days.
Right. Yeah. Because mentally he was competing. If somebody beat him in the next run, he's not like, I lost. You know what I mean? You can't do that. You got to take one day at a time. You cannot let, you know, seeing somebody beat you. You can't let that get to you. You just got to let that go. Tiger Woods is the best guy to ever do that. If you haven't seen that HBO special about how to, you know what I mean, let something go after he hits the ball, it's done. There's nothing you can do about that. Don't worry about what just happened. Worry about what's going to happen.
Nice. And that's why I think the pairing of FNG Academy and 18 Alpha Fitness is so good, right? Mm-hmm. It's like I'm doing everything I can to cover talking head points, things that I struggle with, things that I could try and help them avoid from a Green Beret, you know, prior Green Beret, and then they can go to another prior Green Beret and then get the physical and get the mental on more of a one-on-one aspect, because that's the part I don't provide. I'm not doing one-on-one sessions. I'm not, you know, I've been offered people like, I'll pay you $100 an hour. I'm not doing it. You know,
$100 an hour doesn't add up either, guys.
No. So, and that's no offense to you guys, but it's, you know, that's just time away from family and things like that. And it's just not what we're focused on, because we want to help people on the large scale. And if we could take the ones, you know, because we're trying to focus on civilians even too, right? But if we could take those ones out there, like, hey, there's onesies or twosies here that are legitimately serious to go to selection. Boom, now you're getting 2 Green Berets from 2 different aspects. You're helping them one-on-one, mentally, physically. I'm helping them with, you know, broad strokes and quick videos. I mean, that's powerful. That's something that neither of us, I guarantee, had anything close to.
No. Nobody had anything like this when I went through. Not even close.
Now, real quick, can you give them, just for people that haven't met you yet on the channel, like your credentials, what you've been doing for the Air Force, and then how you got into teaching this, and, you know, the 18 Alpha Fitness, like how that started.
So I started working out as a kid. I played 3 sports growing all my whole life: baseball, football, and wrestling. I got to high school. I got kicked out of. I got cut from baseball, so I walked on to soccer. My last 4 years of high school was very athletic. Joined the Army. I wanted a little bit more, so I went SF. But, you know, growing in, I was getting a little bit overweight and stuff, and so like '98, I became a personal trainer. Went online and then went to a course for a weekend and became a personal trainer. And then in 2005, when I went to Iraq the first time with 3rd Battalion 10th Special Forces Group, when I was a chemical officer, a friend of mine introduced me to CrossFit. His buddy was named BJ Penn. I was like, but anyway, that's another story in itself. So I started CrossFit in 05, right when I got back. When I did the first workout, I was crushed, right? And I'd already been a personal trainer, and I'd never been worked out like that before. So I always wanted to find more. So I started going down a CrossFit rabbit hole, and then Olympic lifting evolved. And then, you know, me being a prior service guy, an enlisted going officer. When you're going to do something, you want to be in the front, right? Especially as an O. And I'm pretty physically fit, even at going to be 52 here shortly. Well, then I wanted a little bit more, when I knew I was retiring and I was going to go become a PA or a PT. And so my strength coach at the time, who came to Okinawa in 2010, he was like, "Why are you going to do that? Why don't you just become a strength coach? You're a shoe-in," because I was programming for my whole company in Okinawa at the time.
Nice.
My teammates loved it, but team sergeant, how those dynamics are. So when I moved back to North Carolina, I got my master's degree in exercise physiology. And then my first gig, right when I retired, I got hooked up. I don't know how. I landed luckily to become at the Air Force for the Special Warfare Human Performance Squadron, where I trained all PJs, combat controllers, TACPs, and special reconnaissance for the last 7 years. I've been at the beginning of the pipeline, just like our SFAS in North Carolina. That's what it is at Lackland. And I've been training those guys that either get injured or they're waiting to go back into the pipeline for the last 7 years.
That's awesome, because you're covering so many bases at that point. You got SF experience, right. You got CCT, PJ, TACP,
and special reconnaissance.
Yeah. That's incredible. Yeah. Because to be honest with you, so I tried to go back in. Once I got out of the military, I was like, I made a mistake.
Please let me back in. Please let me back in.
So I signed up for the Air Force Special Tactics Officer.
Oh, okay.
Because I had my bachelor's degree already done, and I was like, I'm going to do that. I'll try the officer thing because. If you know, you know.
Yeah, you know.
Go officer. Go Air Force. Those are two things I think most people will learn. Go officer and go Air Force. And so I was like, I'm going to go that, because then I could still be in special operations. I failed math on the test by 1 point. Oh. And then I was like, and that's when this whole thing started, because I was like, well, if that door is going to close, I have two options. Because I wasn't crushed by it. It was like, okay, this is what happens. Doors close, you got to
go somewhere else.
Kick them fucking back open.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, so I either need to study and retake the test and then pass. I was like, or what is going to get me excited? And that's how this came about. That's what started the FNG Academy, and it forced me down thinking of what I could do to find fulfillment. But what I was getting at was the water portion of that was nuts. They were like, I remember going, and it was just practice, and like the things where he would take the mask and then shove the hose in it, and it was ice cold water in my face and then drowning me. Yeah. I was like, it was going down I couldn't breathe, and then they're like, they got it so figured out. That's the part that pissed me off. It's like you fart. I'm like getting excited. So talking about it. You start to get a rhythm to your breathing, and they know that. So then he comes up and says, "Start yelling your numbers." So now he's controlling my breathing, right. And now I'm drowning again, and then we go from there to drown proof, where it's like push-ups, underwaters,
chin-ups. Those are called chin-ups. Yeah, going
miserable. Guys, if you have any idea like that, you think you want to go combat controller, who else has to, or PJ? Oh man, you are in for a rude awakening. So I would highly recommend that you link up with this guy and really understand what you're getting yourself into, and get your butt in a pool.
It's the most humbling place to be, man. Water confidence is a humbling place.
And to be honest with you, like I wasn't even going in from no experience, because
you're already an SF guy.
I was already an SF guy, and my buddy who's in Delta, he was training for dive school.
Okay.
And he ended up getting honor grad for it because he's just a stud. So he was training us up. So I was almost 50 meters subsurface. I had my combat side stroke down. I had drown proofing, as far as, I don't know if it's considered drown proofing, with the hands behind the back.
Feet together.
I could do the swims with my feet.
Traveling.
So I felt like I was pretty far ahead of these guys. Yeah. I'm going to be going against like high school kids. Like, I'm doing good.
You're great.
I wasn't doing good.
Not good. It sucks.
Was miserable. So, cool. Well, I think that about wraps up why you guys should go check out Kevin over at 18 Alpha Fitness, and why we promote him so much. Kevin, I appreciate you coming down to the studio. It's awesome to get you in here and actually talk one-on-one, and then do a video where people could see why they need to go over and sign up.
Yeah. Gals, you guys are more welcome to come. I've helped a few women now. It doesn't matter to me, man. I had some phenomenal females in my time in the military. I had two of the best when I was in Bosnia. So
people that don't have experience with really tough women, they have an issue with, you're going to let women in. It's it's like your idea of women is probably skewed from the reality of how tough some of these women really are. I mean, it's the same as men. You have really tough men, and you got some really weak ones, you know, up here physically. And my partner in the police department, when I got on that special team, she was a stud, and she was badass, and she's actually temping at the SWAT team now. And she's standing to be one of the first women on the SWAT team. Yeah. And I couldn't pick a better person to work with. So
fucking awesome.
Yeah, I think you just need that personal experience with a really tough chick that is squared away, and so you could see the type of people you're going to be working with is going to be elevated regardless if they're men or women.
Right.
It's what the community does. Yeah. So cool. Thanks for coming by. Oof. Yeah, edit that out. Yeah. Thanks for coming by. We'll talk to you guys next time, and go check out 18 Alpha Fitness. See you guys later.